Maybe.
Going live.
Let me be your nerd. Let me be your nerd now. I say it, baby, 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 baby. What the hell was that?
Welcome, everybody, to the Grizzled Geek Podcast, episode 88. I'm Mike,
I'm Doug.
and we're here with you Friday night, the premiere nerd podcast on Friday nights in the 6 o'clock time slot. Pacific.
That we're aware of.
We're aware of. Where, we don't know a whole lot. But, guys, just to let you know, being an awesome nerd podcast is, well, it's a difficult job, guys. In fact, some would say it's a daunting task that not one podcast can do all on its own. So luckily for you guys, we have two podcasts tonight, us, and then afterwards, the premiere of the new Absolute Geek Podcast. New hosts, new stories, new nerds, geek stuff, whatever you want to call it. We get to set up here at 6 o'clock, and then we can roll right over into the Absolute Geek Podcast after us. Check out everybody over there. Matt's over here checking us out. Premiere is a big term. True. Well, premiering new hosts.
We're using that in the first of the evening.
Yes,
term.
we're premiere. We're premiere. Yeah. True.
We are the premiere of nerd podcasts on Friday nights.
On Friday nights in Arizona. So, welcome, guys. I want to thank everybody. Yes, all of you out there in podcast land, I've been hearing you. I hear you. The podcasts are being spit out in some random order from Libsyn to everybody out there. Apparently, they're going out to iTunes just fine. But apparently our other ones are being kind of delayed. The Deezer and the Spotify and the other areas. I don't know why. I know I got behind on there and I put a bunch in. And ever since I did that, it's been kind of backed up in there. I don't know. I thought it was a...
Interesting.
Hey, Corbin, what's going on? Welcome. Yeah, I thought maybe it might have been a too much. We didn't have enough storage, but we had plenty of storage. So, to tell you the truth, I'm not sure exactly why. So, sorry guys, we're trying to get that fixed. But they're all out now. As of right now, we are currently up to date. All our podcasts are out. Or you can listen to it on iTunes. They'll be out there every week, right on time on iTunes. Apple don't mess up. They get it out on time.
Nice.
All right, guys. Welcome. Everybody here. We're getting some people in over listening on Twitch, Facebook. Make sure everything's set up everywhere. As I was told, one of them was not set up last week. It looks like we're all good.
Interesting.
We're ready to do a podcast, Doug. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. So what have you been up to, Doug? Anything major?
I saw a movie for the first time in forever.
We did see a movie for the first time forever since the last movie we saw together, Bloodshot. March, not last March, but the March before last. We saw Bloodshot. It was the last thing we saw in theaters.
March 2020, we saw Bloodshot. I think that was the last thing we saw in theaters.
That is true. So it's been over a year, guys. It was good to be back. Good to be back, sitting back, popcorn, a large drink. Yep. There was one lady in the theater, though, that was kind of mad dogging everybody without a mask. Her and her family had a mask on, and then she was just like mad dogging everybody. I'm like, sorry. I'm like,
go get a shot, and then
Go get a shot. Then you could join the all-time spreaders like us. See, we're not all-time pitchers. We don't catch anymore. So,
but yeah,
join the winning team. But yeah, I did notice that, and I was like, why are you in the theaters then if you're that concerned about it? Why are you?
Right, yeah.
Especially for a movie you can see on Disney Plus, and with the number of people she had, it would have been probably cheaper for her just to stay home and watch it. But hey,
you can't get that IMAX experience.
You cannot.
You
cannot. It was great seeing a movie in IMAX again. You know, it's fun to watch movies at home, but it's not.
I don't
the same.
get it. I mean, I don't have kids or anything like that. So Melissa and I will occasionally watch a movie that has been out for a while that we haven't seen, but it's not a movie that's still in the theaters. I mean, if it's, and I guess not all movies are something I want to see in the theater or that I feel the need for it to be in the theater. But if it's a superhero movie or it's an action movie or it's something, big blockbuster type thing, I don't understand the people. It's like, I'd rather just watch it at home. I'm like, what? Do you not understand how big screens work and how theaters work? What are you talking about?
Exactly. It's great. Hold on one second, Doug. I got to realize I'm in the dark over here. Let me just fix that. I can't have people not be able to see me.
I don't know what he meant. He had light. What are you talking about?
I didn't have my spotlight on.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So that's important. There.
Yeah, that's a huge change.
Much better lit. Now you can see my forehead much better than you could before. Yeah, Matt mentioning my Rudy's Cup here. Apparently, we break one of the main, and I was brought to my attention recently, one of the main tenets of podcasting is not to eat or drink anything on the podcast. But I don't know what they're talking about. I think we sound just fine.
Yeah.
And in fact, just think of it as like an added bonus,
ASMR.
ASMR, right? Me slurping out the Rudy's Cup, and
Yeah.
I haven't eaten anything on a podcast yet, and I kind of want to, but kind of wanted to bring that giant popcorn here, but. For those of you listening to Podcast Land, you missed our visual joke. You can check us out on youtube.com/The Grizzled Geek if you want to see our faces. Like many of you have, check out our videos. Our videos have been watched over 1 million times now. How's that feel to say?
Pretty
It's
good.
been a while, but
It only took 4 years.
It only took 4 years to do it, but
Ish. I don't know exactly how many, but anyways.
Nice. Yeah, people slurping on a podcast. That's true. I never wear pants. I can't stand up without the camera off. I work without pants. All right. What do you say we jump into? Let's just talk about our movie
First,
experience.
let's go ahead and throw that big old warning up there.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about Black Widow, people, and there's definitely going to be some spoilers. We are going to review this. If you have not seen Black Widow, go out and check it out. Order it on Disney Plus. All right, just go check it in the theaters because
it's awesome.
Theaters need to love, and it's awesome. Go check it out.
It's a great theater experience.
Awesome experience. All right, so let's talk overall thoughts. I think we both really liked the movie.
Yeah, it was good. It's a kind of traditional, fun Marvel movie.
Yes, it's not groundbreaking. This isn't
I have a feeling they wanted it to be kind of a Black Panther type, like empowering for women movie. And I think I shouldn't say that. They didn't want, because it was really, all of the main characters were female, and they all did a great job. So I think they wanted to point a spotlight at, there at the end about how, there's all of these, girls around the world who are just seen as not extraneous. What's the word I'm looking for? Like disposable, and stuff like that. So they wanted to
that was
kind
a
of
theme
call
of the movie,
attention.
definitely.
Yeah, they wanted to call attention to that. And it didn't really come off, in my opinion, didn't come off like super heavy-handed or anything like that, but it didn't have the same weight that Black Panther did.
Right.
So I think it was more of just, it was fun. It was like like an Iron Man or a, first Avenger or the first Thor movie or something like that, where it's just a cool, fun adventure with this character, not necessarily anything groundbreaking or anything like that.
Whoa. Did you put the first oh, you're talking about Captain America First Avenger, not the first Avengers movie. I was going to say.
Not the first Avengers movie.
That was
the first,
groundbreaking.
Again, it may have been groundbreaking in how it pulled all of the characters together, but it was just an adventure movie.
Yeah.
So it was along those same lines.
Right. I got to agree with Matt here in this point. This movie is long overdue, and you kind of felt it watching the movie. Like, I really wish this had come out in order, right? In a timeline, knowing what we know.
Yeah.
This would have been, I think it would have been a better movie if it had come out after Civil War, right? Right after Civil War. And it was long overdue for Scarlett Johansson and Black Widow to get their own movie, right? Mm-hmm. But the fact that it's after her death, it's kind of like, it didn't take away. I like the movie. I like the fact that it's been, as well, finally getting a Marvel movie after over a year, right?
Yeah,
it didn't disappoint. It wasn't a bad movie. I don't think it was. I don't want to say underwhelming like Matt here thinks it was, but I think it was like middle of the road Marvel movie, which is not bad when you think of what Marvel's got, one or two that are kind of below average, and then the rest are good. So middle of the road for Marvel is not bad. It's just definitely not top tier movie. But let's point out what we like about here. Some people are pointing out the fact that the only two men in the movie, one is a buffoon and the other one is just there to get stuff for her, right? Which was kind of like, and I'm like, well, that's kind of, the spotlight's on, Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson, right? And her sister, which were both great, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Kyle. Welcome.
The nature of their backgrounds kind of lends to all of the bad guys are going to be, well, not all of the bad guys, obviously, but, most of the bad guys are going to be women as well.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with, that didn't bother me.
No, I didn't bother me either.
I loved Red Guardian's character, so.
I did too. They call him a buffoon is kind of oversimplification of who he was. I think he was an awesome character. And everyone's like, well, he got his ass handed to him by the Taskmaster, and I didn't see it that way. He held off this unstoppable juggernaut longer than anyone else could, right?
Everyone else we saw fight the Taskmaster, it was over relatively instantly.
Yeah.
Our main character got her ass handed to her by Taskmaster.
Yeah.
And he just tanked. He got beat on for a while, but he caught the shield she threw at her.
Yeah.
Threw at him. He did a lot of cool stuff. So I don't think that, his job in that fight wasn't to finish the Taskmaster. It was just to keep him busy.
Right. Yeah. And I had no problem with Red Guardian. I like the fact that he, we're having this discussion. He has these stories in the movie about fighting Captain America, right? And at first, obviously, he's making them up because he was talking about stuff that happened before he was even thought out, right? So there's no way he could have actually. Captain America. The no way Red Guardian could ever met Captain America because he was in prison when Captain America was thought out, right? So there's no way he could have ever met. So at first we're just like, okay, he's just making up stories. But then later on, he asks if he ever talks about him in their fights with Natasha, who knows Captain America. So now we're like, was he implanted with memories? Because clearly he was in prison the entire time Captain America was, was out. Was it a different Captain America he fought? Does he just implant memories? Because they were dealing with mind control, even if it wasn't like the chemical mind control we have in the movie way back when,
right. Yep.
So, okay. Fair enough. We're going to get into that here in a second here. Be fair, that was the real Taskmaster. True. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, let's finish up. We'll talk about our favorites. I really loved Red Guardian. He was awesome. I liked her sister. She was awesome. I have no problem with her continuing on in the MCU. What do you think, Doug? What was your
No,
favorite parts?
well, here's the thing. I enjoyed this movie a lot, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I would rank it above the middle of the pack, mostly because I like these type of like Bourne Identity, Bond, these kind of like spy thrillers with the action, the really intense action kind of sequences. So I enjoyed that part of it. I did, like I said, I liked Red Guardian. I liked her guy who gets her stuff. Whatever you want, weapons dealer kind of guy. Having somebody who you call and you're like, hey, I need this, I need that. That was kind of her cue kind of thing, except for black market Q. That was fun. So I liked it, and I hope they keep that character around. Maybe her sister will use him. That would be cool for him to stay around. I really hope we get to see Red Guardian again because he was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought they did most of the movie really well. Like we said in the beginning, it wasn't groundbreaking or anything, but they don't all have to be. Yeah. They don't all have to be like the next big, I don't know, the next big thing that's like total game changer, it's
right,
it's the next Black Panther, it's the next whatever, right. We don't need those.
Well, I'll tell you what I think. Let's talk a little bit about the problems. If we had any problems with the movie. First off, let's talk Taskmaster because this is very divisive. Obviously, Matt, a little preview of what their take is for the next podcast. But yeah, here's the thing. I knew it wasn't going to be Taskmaster from the comics, right? Obviously, they changed characters from the comics quite a bit, and I'm okay with that, right? And I was okay with him not speaking and just being this untalking, unstoppable juggernaut that he was, right? Like he should be. And I had no problem with him up until like the reveal. I think was kind of okay, unless she's got like some kind of robot body. I don't know. That little girl grew up to be jacked because you look at scenes with him. It's like, oh, hey, that's clearly a big dude.
Right. There has to be some super soldier elements, or she has to be cybernetic or something. We don't really going on. Figure that we don't get that answer, so that's kind of frustrating. And
you were worried that it was going to be the mother, right?
Yeah, I thought they kind of hinted in the previews. I thought that it was going to be Melina.
Yeah. Which would have been worse.
Yeah, I think it would have been. I liked how the family dynamics ended up playing out.
Yeah.
So that was good. Whatever with Taskmaster. I like the Taskmaster from the comics, but in the comics, the Taskmaster's identity isn't really that big a deal that you have to have a certain character or whatever. I did think it was kind of weird. It's like, what kind of poor demolition job did you do that you did not kill the main target?
Yeah, didn't harm the main target at all. It only
didn't harm the main target at all. And then
the daughter a little bit.
Only kind of hurt the little girl who was there at point blank range. I was like,
they're like, what? You blew her face off. I'm like, hardly. She's a little. I'm a little plastic surgery will fix that burn on the face. I'm like, come on. But oh my goodness. I will say, some of the aerial combat stuff in the end was very Fast and the Furious physics defying. But it's okay. I accept that in a Marvel movie. It's in, as opposed to a Fast and Furious movie, which is supposed to be more grounded, right? Barring Hobbs and Shaw. But I'm fine. I'm fine with that. I understand some people had some issue with that, but I'm like, it's Marvel. It's just a comic book movie. What are you gonna do?
Right.
My problem with Taskmaster is not so much the reveal. I'm like, I had wished they'd have kept him we never revealed it, right? Because he was just unstoppable juggernaut. We didn't have to care who he was.
And you're left wondering at the end, did he
left wondering, is he
not?
dead, right? So we'd have that possibility of that bad guy to return again. Here we have one more wasted bad guy who's kind of cool that we can't use.
Isn't a bad guy anymore. Well,
isn't a bad guy anymore.
That's one of the big problems with the MCU. Really, the only problem I think with the MCU as a whole, when you look at the whole thing, is all of their bad guys either, well, not all, a majority of them either die or become good guys.
Yeah.
And so it's like, come on, we need some repeat villains who are still villains.
Yeah. Otherwise, we do. And Taskmaster would have been a good one to keep around.
Yeah, because he can be anybody's villain. That would. And I mean, we're gonna get another, Thanos style bad guy who will move from movie to movie and kind of be in the background. But that's a background character who's not really the main focus until the end of that.
We need more street level bad guys like Taskmaster and that who can take on, as opposed to and they even mentioned in the movie, how they're a different tier, like Thor is on a different level. That was a great.
That was a good dig from the sister. Like, I thought one of the big guys. I forget how she stated it.
Yeah, one of the big ones.
What do you mean the big ones? Well, I bet the space god, the god for the space god doesn't have to take Advil after each fight or something. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Did you have any problems with it? Was there any issues? I mean,
with what?
The movie, was there any?
You mean aside from the not getting to keep Taskmaster as a bad guy? No, I think that was
that's the main one.
Yeah, that's probably the main one. Yeah, I like I said, I largely liked it. I didn't really have any major problems. Like, it wasn't the most spectacular story ever, but it was I thought it was solid for what it was.
All right, so we're gonna give it how would we rate it on the Marvel scale? The Marvel scale is 1 to 10, 1 being Thor: Dark World, 10 being Winter Soldier. So because it's a different, Marvel's a different scale than your normal.
Yeah.
So what would you rate it on the Marvel scale? 1 to 10.
I'd give it probably 6.5.
6? All right.
Yeah.
I'll go 6. I can give it a 6 too. I can think of. I really enjoy the action. Like you said, the Bourne-esque kind of. Right out the gate action scene. I like the fact that there wasn't anybody too super, overly powerful. I like the fact that we have a more street level bad guy or superhero movie, right?
Yep.
I'm excited about that. So yeah, out of Marvel scale, 1 from Dark World to 1 being Dark World, 10 to Winter Soldier. We'll give it a 6, guys. 6.5. All right. Oh, look at that, Matt. Hey. There we go. Fair score. All right. Let's talk the end credit scenes real quick. So I believe this end credit scene was filmed later because remember, this movie was supposed to come out before Winter Soldier, before WandaVision, right? This is over a year old, late coming out. So I believe there was probably a different end credit scene because they talked about having to reshoot some stuff in both those series that would give away stuff from this movie, which I don't know what was going on. I think it was probably the end credit reveal. They had some stuff that were kind of led into those. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yes. Awesome. Smells Like Teen Spirit cover.
I don't know you can use those two things in the same sentence.
Doug's not a Nirvana fan, but
no.
Yeah, I love Nirvana. Well, I didn't love Nirvana. I enjoyed Nirvana. All right, so the end credit scene, I believe this was filmed later on, right? This was actually, since they had to rejuggle things around, they switched it around. So I don't know what the original end credit scene was, but clearly this is meant to come after, the line that it did. What do we think about the end credit scene, Doug, and what does it mean for the future going forward?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. It doesn't answer a lot of questions, so we still don't know where Val stands.
Right.
We don't know where she is. One could assume she is in some sort of pseudo-official government job that she's just kind of like in that deniability area. But it's cool that she has yet one more person on her like reject superhero team.
Reject superhero team. Budget Black Widow and budget Captain America. Fair enough.
Yeah, so I liked it. I'm glad that we're keeping Florence Pugh's character.
Yeah.
Yelena, I think.
She gonna show up in the Hawkeye series now? Clearly that's what they're setting up, right?
I guess. I thought that was a kind of a very weird, like, want to get the guy who's responsible, and you're like, what are you talking about? So that was weird. But yeah, I guess that does kind of set her up to be in the Hawkeye series. Maybe she'll be the one to blind him.
Got it.
If that's what in fact is going to happen. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. Yes, yeah. Pugh was very good. I liked her character. I liked the fact she was making fun of. This is the sad part about this movie. The dynamic between her and Natasha was so great. I wanted to see more of them just bantering back and forth on adventures, right? Yeah. And knowing that we'll never get that again, it kind of sucks. But I mean, for me, that was my favorite part of the movie. Is just their dynamic, the two of them together.
Yeah.
But yes, yep. Corbin agrees. Red Guardian, Guardian's the man held off the unstoppable Taskmaster, and his imaginary fights with Captain America. Yeah. Now, I don't know whether he had those memories implanted, or whether he just he convinced himself after telling all those stories long enough that tell a lie long enough you start to believe
he's just a little nutty and
actually
believes his own stuff.
Propaganda. All right, so there we have it, folks. 6.5 on the Marvel scale, which is not bad for Marvel scales on a different level. Black Widow, go check it out. Go see it in theaters if you haven't. I mean, you shouldn't be listening to us if you haven't, but go check that out. Buy it on Disney Plus if you have to. But all right, let's move on from Black Widow. Let's talk Loki episode 5. And again, just in case you guys, haven't seen it yet, we're going to talk spoilers. All right. So episode 5, Doug, Journey into Mystery, which was the title of the comics debut with the comic that Thor and Loki debuted in.
Yeah, so first Easter egg was right there.
First Easter egg, yeah. Episode. This was Easter egg the episode, right? This was, yeah. It was Easter egg the episode, and it was so great. This is like one of my favorite, just because of this, right? And again, we didn't get too far in the plot, but we got to see some cool characters, right? We got to see some cool reveals. I mean, we can't talk about this episode without talking about Easter eggs, right?
He hasn't seen it yet. All right.
All right.
Go watch it right now.
Yeah, go check it out. All right. So Easter eggs. Right off the bat, the fact that we have in canon now, in the Marvel, in the MCU, we have Frog Thor, right?
Yeah.
And I had to go back, like when I went through, I'm like, oh, look, there's Mjolnir underground. And then I was like, oh, was that Thor in a jar? I'm like, oh, pause, go back, enhance, Yeah, it's Frog Thor. Throg is official. He's in the MCU, as is the Thanos copter. Now, Doug, did you ever, in your wildest dreams, we talked about all this crazy stuff. We said, like, in my wildest dreams, I'd never imagined this in the MCU. But at the bottom of that list, if I had to pick what was going to be canon in the MCU, I think the Thanos copter would rank somewhere, way at the bottom. That would never happen. And we got the Thanos copter in the MCU.
Yep.
I mean, we also got other MCU one was
the heads of the Living Tribunal.
The heads of the Living Tribunal. We got the ship of Ronan's ship, right?
Yep.
Out there, we had there was some stuff that wasn't MCU related too, like Polylebus, the fictional video game that was in there. For those of you who don't know, this video game that was in Loki's lair is kind of like an urban myth that people were saying they saw this game in arcades in the early 80s, and it was linked to some CIA mind control that, controlled your mind as you played these games, and they put it out as a test in some West Coast arcades. So it was like infamous. If you can look this online, there's stories about this all over the place. It turned out, it's a fictional story. The game never existed, but the fact they had a copy, an arcade there in the Loki lair was awesome. The fact they had the USS Eldridge. If those of you don't know about the Eldridge is another one of those. It was from a Philadelphia experiment to, the conspiracy theory about people experimenting with stealth technology that caused the ship to warp out of time and space in World War II. And they come back with like people fused to the deck and all this crazy stuff. Yeah, I'm a big fan of all those weird stories like that. So when I saw the Elders, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's where it went. Phased out of time, to the end of time. So it's just cool they added all these little Easter eggs in there. All right. And then let's talk Lokis, like all the Lokis. What was your favorite Loki, Doug, out of all the Lokis we've seen so far?
Wow.
I know.
Probably President Loki.
President Loki?
He's pretty fun. He was kind of perfect.
I don't know how you could beat Alligator Loki.
Yeah.
Alligator Loki is great and sassy. And
somebody I forget who it was, who said Alligator Loki actually went and got help.
Yeah.
From the Thor Ragnarok get help.
Yeah. Get help.
Threw Loki out.
And Alligator Loki is going to have his own his Funko Pop. So I know what my next Funko Pop purchase is going to be. It's Alligator Loki. But let's talk. Everybody's favorite seems to be Old Man Loki, who was amazing. He was awesome. I like the fact that he was wearing vintage comic book Loki costume, and his storyline went along the same lines. Only he was so much more powerful in magic that his illusion fooled Thanos, and then he went on to live out his life in exile. For the good of the universe. And then when he's missing his brother, comes back, and then the TVA gets him. If he's even a Loki, is that like a Loki? But the fact that Old Man Loki did this makes me think, and this is how my mind works, is I'm trying to imagine an MCU, right, where everything plays out, but everybody's in their vintage comic book costume, right? You imagine you've seen a scene, Thor's in his comic book outfit, right? That Loki's in his comic book outfit. So in his world, they're dressed just like they are out of the comics, right? So I'm just trying to, in my head, that's what I pictured. Like Chris Hemsworth rocking the furry boots and the whole the whole bit. I think that was awesome. It's so many cool things. The fact that Loki was just spent the whole episode being done with himself. Right? He sit there realizing, all him fighting himself through all this and realizing, like, oh, look, all the double crosses. During all the double crosses, right? The look on his face, you're just like, oh my goodness, this is what I'm like. This is what it's like to be around me all this time. So, all right, who's in the castle, Doug? Let's speculate. I've seen all. I don't know if you've checked out some of the online speculation about the castle.
Yeah, there seems to be 3 main contenders of who's in the castle.
All right,
and there seems to be a consensus building that the least likely is Kang.
Even though we know he's coming.
Yeah, even though we know he's coming, I think most people are falling on the side of he's not coming here.
Yeah,
he's not going to be introduced until the movies,
right?
So, I've heard the argument for why. There's basically 2 routes to go. Do you go the comic accurate route that has the one who remained,
right?
The last person who actually is the creator of the TVA in the comics, who it would work best if that were Mobius.
Yeah.
Morbius.
Like a version of Mobius.
It's Mobius, right?
Mobius, yeah.
Mobius.
Mobius and Mobius.
Yeah. So that would be the ideal comic accurate one. But the one that's probably better story wise is that it's actually a Loki.
King Loki.
Yeah. And that Loki, this whole show is about Loki trying to overcome the nature of Loki.
Right.
And to do that, he's had to learn to love himself, metaphorically and actually. And he needs to defeat himself.
Which would
to beat the bad part of himself.
If it was a Loki, it would make sense why he's got to prune all the other Lokis out of existence, right? Does he want, if he's able to get to that point, he knows he's the only person who could. So the main timeline Loki dies, so he's fine. But every other variant Loki needs to get pruned out of existence so he doesn't do what they're going to do now, right? Which is confront him. Yeah. It makes sense. I wish it was Kang, but the Loki story makes sense. But you got to admit that castle does look like, Doctor Doom's castle. So, aesthetically, it looks like Doctor Doom's castle. I mean, no, it's not, but I'm not suggesting that it would be, but it does.
Part of the what's that?
No, when I saw it, that's what I that's what I thought of. So
that's funny. Part of the thing that argues for it being Loki is there are still versions of Loki from the trailer that we haven't seen yet. And we only have one episode left. So that would kind of tend to suggest that this is where we'll see that Loki.
Right.
And
so Matt's saying it's officially the very first comic book accurate character in the MCU. She tend to suggest it's the
No. They are saying that it's officially very first comic book is the Old Man Loki.
Old Man Loki, okay.
Is the first comic accurate character in the MCU.
Yeah.
Doctor.
So now with one episode left to go, I know we've kind of had our ups and downs with this series.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts now with one episode to go? How do you feel about it?
It's good.
Just throwing it to Doug for the hot take.
It's not my favorite. Yeah. I mean, it is not what everybody was trying to make it out to be in the beginning. There's like, oh, this is the best MCU so far, but this is the best MCU TV show so far, blah blah blah.
That's their love of Loki talking.
Yeah. That's you enjoying Tom Hiddleston as Loki.
Which we all do. But
the story so far has been it's very weird. It's one of those things that's like it dragged so much in the middle, but now it seems to be rushing to finish up in the one episode it has left. So it's like, why does it feel this way? Was there just so much you couldn't allow them to you couldn't shove in there without giving away the ending, so you kind of had to slow ball it until you could just rush to the end, and there you go, there's the big reveal. Don't give people too much time to think about it. Because it feels like the second episode and the fourth episode, was it the fourth episode? No, the second and the third episode.
The third episode
were just kind of like,
third was filler, straight up filler.
What's going on here? This is nothing. And then the fourth episode was really good, and this last one was the best so far. In my opinion, 5 was the best one, the best episode we've had so far.
I kind of feel like it's falling in the same trap of Falcon the Winter Soldier, where at the end of the last episode of Falcon the Winter Soldier was good. Don't get me wrong, I loved it, but some elements felt a little rushed, like the redemption of Walker, right? Yeah. And the whole reveal of the Power Broker. Some of that felt like it could have been played out a little more, right?
Yeah.
Wow. O'Reilly with the this has to slow build, big finish. Yeah, the classic Thor writer. Yeah, I mean that's true. That's the way the comics went, right? It built up these big storylines. He's the one who wrote the Ragnarok storyline, which was like almost a year of buildup in the comics wise to get there. But yeah, I mean, that's I kind of feel like, yeah, I agree with you. This last episode, they got a whole lot to do. They got the, Mobius bringing down the TVA. You've got, the big reveal at the end of the main bad guy, and then seeing, what that showdown is like. I don't know. I am personally excited. I'm a little more jazzed now. I like the mystery.
I think you meant Walt Simonson, by the way.
Walt Simonson, yeah.
But yes.
True. We know who you're talking about. We knew. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm excited. I can't rate this show out of the 3 until I see the last episode.
Well, and I think trying to rate 3 shows is kind of like that's
what everybody's doing. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's like,
there's not enough.
The ranking. We got 3 episodes, right?
Yeah.
So, and until She-Hulk comes out, this is going to be.
Yeah.
Still logboat made out of toenails. Yes, that was actually in the comics. Look at that. Whew. By the way, welcome, Chris. Thanks for joining us, man. Good to hear from you, buddy. Yeah, I don't know, Doug. Let's move along to the next series that's coming out in August, the What If series, because we just got a brand new trailer for that.
That looks super cool.
That looks super cool. We're super excited about this as comic book fans. Yeah, I mean, What If looks awesome. Now, again, there's a lot of returning voice actors coming back to voice their characters. But, however, there are a few recasts, right? And according to Variety, we got a list of who's been recast in the What If series. So, according to them, Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, the Collector, Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, and Howard the Duck have different voice actors. They've been recast. So it might be a little jarring having some familiar voices act alongside of new voices for characters. But however, the accuracy, this is Variety, so everyone took it as okay, Variety knows what they're talking about. However, the accuracy of this is coming into question after Seth Green tweeted right afterwards that he is in fact voicing Howard the Duck again. So
okay.
And he was listed in the ones. But I mean, I know we heard in the trailer Tony Stark's voice was different, and I'm sure Captain Marvel and
T'Challa sounded pretty accurate.
Pretty good, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And notice they didn't list him as, I mean,
a different actor, which I guess maybe just that's obvious.
Right. Or they could have filmed, their voiceover before, but I don't know.
I mean, I don't know about that. That would have been, they would have had to been way ahead on this series.
Right, yeah, that's true.
Way further ahead than it is likely.
Yeah. Oh, Matt said that is Chadwick, so he did.
Oh, so he did his voice. He did his voice beforehand, huh?
Yeah.
Wow, they've been working on this for a really long time then.
Yeah. And then, so new Tony Stark, new Steve Rogers. I mean, those were pretty much obvious. You're not going to pay Robert Downey Jr. money to come back to voice the character.
Right.
Collector, Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel. That was a little surprise, but, we'll see. He recorded before he passed. It's been confirmed, according to Matt here.
That's cool.
So, awesome. Matt with the facts. So we saw in the trailer, we know we're going to get Sorcerer Supreme Spider-Man. We're getting Captain Carter. We're getting T'Challa as Star-Lord and Marvel Zombies. Did you recognize any other storylines in that?
There appears to be a what if Killmonger saved Tony Stark.
That's true. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
That was interesting. Man, I'm trying to think what else stood out on those. They kind of looped through the same ones a few times. Oops, sorry about that.
Yep. They
looped through the same ones a few times. So, trying to remember if I saw any others that looked.
It's hard to pick out exactly what.
Because there was a lot going on. Those were the ones that really stuck out. What if T'Challa was taken instead of Quill to become Star-Lord?
Right. Well, that's 5. That's 5 of the six episodes. So there's one more episode out there. We're not sure what it is, but I mean, in addition to all those stories, we also see characters. In the trailer we saw obviously Howard the Duck. We mentioned Pepper Potts, the Warriors 3, and what appears to be Scott Lang's head in a jar was in the trailer. So, yeah, it's what if, man, and anything can happen. So, super excited about that. All right, let's talk. See, where are we on time wise? Oh, we got a little time. All right, let's talk Book of Boba Fett, Doug.
All right, let's do it.
We've got some interview with Tamara Moore. What was how do you say his name? The Boba Fett actor.
Oh,
Tamara Morrison.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's it. Tamara Morrison.
He kind of let some stuff slip, right? Okay, he was like, I can't say much, and then he went on to talk a whole bunch. So new information, what he's talking about is going to deal with Boba Fett's timeline, right? So it's going to delve into his past and his current story. It's kind of why they're going to talk about called the Book of Boba Fett, right? So he's going to be telling stories. So each episode is going to be a story in his life. So it's going to have like a main current theme going through all of them, but then it's going to be like stories. Which so, like it's, for instance, he could tell a story of his time on Tatooine, which is where Cobb Vanth, how Cobb Vanth gets the armor, because we know Timothy the Oliphant's going to be in it, right? And again, me and Doug were speculating about this before, since in the Bad Batch, they brought back a fan favorite character, bounty hunter Cad Bane, who is an awesome character from the Clone Wars. They brought him back, which, to let us know that, yeah, he survived. He's in this timeline now. So we're like, man, it would make perfect sense to have Cad Bane, a rival bounty hunter, in the Book of Boba Fett, which would be the most awesome thing. And we're like, first off, we'd be like, they could never do that in live action. But then again, they pulled off Ahsoka Tano. They pulled, they brought people back, and this is Filoni in charge of this.
And he's directing one of the episodes.
He's directing one of the episodes. So they're making they made a point of bringing that character back in the Bad Batch. So I'm hoping. I mean, if I get a live action Cad Bane, I don't know. That's
pretty sweet.
Yes. But they have an all-star lineup of directors for this season, right? So we got Jon Favreau's directing an episode. Bryce Dallas Howard's coming back to direct an episode. Dave Filoni, obviously, and Robert Rodriguez, right? Who directed the episode that saw Boba Fett basically come back in action,
Right, yeah.
The full first episode with him back in armor was a Robert Rodriguez episode. So I'm excited about this series. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, Boba Fett, fan favorite character, finally done justice.
I really hope the diving back through the timeline is done kind of flashback style, because I want the story to proceed forward with, in our current Mandalorian timeline.
Yeah, the story is going to be the main, him and Fennec Shan. That's her name. That's going to be the main storyline, and then there's going to be like, I guess, flashback episodes as he's telling how it went. Cool. So, yeah, I'm excited about it. All right, guys, we got 10 minutes here. Let's jump into some of our smaller stories, our Geek Bites, our Nerd Nuggets, if you will. All right, Nerd Nugget time. Yeah, man. Old man Bubba's sitting on his porch in a rocking chair. All right, so first off, really quick. Witcher Season 2 gets a new trailer and release date of December 17th. So it's finally getting to the storyline we want to see about with him and Ciri, and actually Ciri becoming a Witcher. So, I mean, the first season, which was really good, I love the first season of Witcher, minus the the dragon CGI. It was great, but it was like a prequel, right?
Yeah. Did they actually cancel this series?
Which series?
I heard that it got the axe from
Witcher?
Netflix. Yeah.
No, Witcher's.
Like maybe season 2 would be the last one.
Well, I don't know about that, but they just now announced the trailer, or they premiered the trailer and announced the release date of season 2. So who knows? It is an expensive show, so we'll see. I thought it did really well the first season. It was like one of their best, and
that happens
season 2 does
all the time with Netflix.
That's
nowadays.
True. Netflix has been giving the axe to a whole bunch of stuff, so we don't know. It's hard to say, but yep, December 17th, guys. It'll be this year. All right, Doug, what's next?
All right, with San Diego Comic-Con at home right around the corner, it has been confirmed that both Marvel and DC films will skip again this year.
Yep.
Which makes sense. They both have their own,
yeah,
D23 and the DC. What is it called? Fan Fest or
DC Fan Fusion. So no, that's the Phoenix Comic Con. Whatever they're goofy. DC Fandom something.
Yeah,
fandom.
Something like that.
Yeah, fan something. Fan servicing.
So yeah, they'll do their own. They're going to do their own things. So that makes sense.
Again, what does this mean for San Diego Comic Con? Right, we're going 2 years without people.
Once it's live again, I think we'll be back to normal.
All right, here's the thing. Here's my hope. My hope is the fact that if Marvel and DC, the big entertainment companies, are going to be pulling out of Comic-Con for the foreseeable future, and it has to focus more on comics and some of the stuff it focused on before it became a big media event, that all the people that go there for all the media stuff, will thin out, and we can get back to a Comic-Con that is actually, fun to go to again.
Actually, Comic-Con?
Yeah, an actual Comic-Con. But that probably won't happen. But that's
maybe. Yeah, I mean that's a kind of a pie in the sky dream there.
Right.
I doubt it's going to happen.
Yeah. All right. So we know Charlie Cox is coming back to play Matt Murdock in at least 2 Marvel projects, right? And it's been long time rumored the first of those projects is going to be Spider-Man: No Way Home, but he's only rumored to play Matt Murdock in that, right? So everyone was thinking, wow, he's just going to show up as Matt Murdock, kind of a cameo in a couple of things, and that's going to be it. However, a new rumor out is saying that his second project, and this has come from multiple sources, is going to be the She-Hulk series, in which he'll not only play Matt Murdock, but he'll suit up in a brand new Daredevil costume. So we'll actually see him in full Daredevil.
Interesting. I don't know. I liked his Daredevil costume from the show, so I hope they don't go too far astray with it.
Right. True. But yeah, I'm excited to see Matt Murdock back. Charlie Cox is an awesome Matt Murdock, and they better utilize those characters if they're going to, this is not from We Got This Covered. I don't report We Got This Covered news unless at least 2 other sources report it. And this is, yeah. So, all right.
Is Hugh Jackman coming back as Wolverine? The actor caused a storm of speculation this week with a couple of tweets with no explanation. The first was a picture of Wolverine's claws, and the second was a picture of himself and Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
If he's not, he's trolling, because why would you do this?
Well, he could be. I mean, just to play devil's advocate here, they could have asked him to come in just to give whoever they do cast a perspective on being Wolverine.
That's true.
Like, hey, let's go to the person who mastered it and ask them to help us build the new Wolverine. So,
but yeah, if that's the case,
him about that.
Yeah, I would be too. But I mean, yeah, if that's the case, him teasing the claws and then him and Feige together, it seemed very trollish to me. But
yeah.
Yeah, but I would love to see Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine in the MCU. I'd also like to see a new actor come in and take over the role, although it's hard to think of a new actor. Everyone's like, oh, this guy would be great, this guy would be great, and they may be, but it's hard in the shadow of Hugh Jackman, right? Who was the perfect Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to see it, but
I guess
it could happen.
It's going to have to happen at some point. Well, it's the same thing with having Patrick Stewart and James McAvoy, or Ian McKellen and Michael Fassbender. Is like, all right, well, there's some pretty good names to pick. So
yeah, true. But even in those movies, they still kept Hugh Jackman in both timelines. Yeah. All right. So sad news this week, guys. We're going to finish off with Richard Donner passed away this week at age 91. For those of you unfamiliar, and if you're a geek, I don't know why you would be unfamiliar. He's a legendary director who's most known for Superman the movie, right? He's the first one who actually took a superhero movie and took it seriously, right? Even with the comedy in it, it's still before that, like we had what Batman TV series in the 60s, which was very campy,
right?
and he took a serious approach to it when everyone else was like, "Yeah, he's a guy in red boots with you can fly." Right? That's not meant to be serious, and he took it serious, and he gave us still to this day one of the best comic book movies of all time. So, but it wasn't just known for that. He also directed a ton. If you grew up in the '80s, you know of his movies. He did Lethal Weapon, Lady Hawk, Scrooged, The Goonies. I mean,
all
classics.
excellent movies.
Yeah. All of them excellent movies, right? And before that, he worked in television. He directed episodes of Wanted Dead or Alive, The Twilight Zone, Man from U.N.C.L.E., then The Fugitive, right? And these are all classic TV series, right? So the man was a legend. And his wife still works in the industry as a producer.
Okay.
Yeah, Laura Schuler-Donner. She produces a ton of movies. So it's a sad time. I mean, he had an amazing life, and he was 91. So, I mean, it's a good run. It's a good run, and he leaves behind a legacy, especially for if you are a geek who grew up in the '80s. You know his name. So, and for those of you who don't know, go check out some of these movies because they are classics.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with any of these movies.
Yeah. So, all right. That about does it for us. Be sure to make sure after this episode you go check out the Absolute Geek Podcast. Matt, Lance, and Max, the new hosts, are going to be on there. They're going to be giving you their take on Black Widow movie, which I think will probably be rated a little lower than ours. But be sure to check that out. Like I said, guys, having a premier nerd podcast, no one podcast can do it. It's an impossible task. That's why we have two of us to take care of you guys on Friday nights. Saturday nights, you got you can go over there and check Tales on the Flip Side. They have an excellent podcast as well over there. So we got your weekend covered, guys, for nerd news. Comics, movies, whatever you guys want to geek about, we'll be here to help you through it. And we'll be back again next weekend to help you through it again. Also, next weekend, after our podcast, we're going to premiere our brand new gaming podcast over on our Grizzled War Master channel. Be sure to check that out. Keep an eye out for that. Be sure you go over there and subscribe on that channel as well so you don't miss when we do those podcasts over there as well. So we're going to have 2 podcasts a week, guys. So whatever you're into. You're into comics, we got you covered. We got you in games, we got you covered. Just regular nerd news, man. Choices are limitless. So thank you once again, guys. Be sure to subscribe, share with your friends, and click the links down below to support the channel and the things that we do here and help us keep making these videos and keep doing these podcasts. And we will see you guys all again next weekend. Bye.